everybody. Happy Sunday evening. And I am excited to be back with you guys again this week for our weekly dose. If you're listening to this on the Hustle with Heart podcast, I want to welcome you to what I think might be episode 29. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you get to see me live and in living color. But I'm Erin Harrigan, your Hustle with Heart coach. I'm bringing you a great topic this week that I hope no one took offense to, which is it's not about you, but it's not about me either. You might be familiar with the book, It's Not About You by Bob Berg and John David Mann. It is a story told kind of like a parable, and the main character learns so much in his journey about not making things about him as he pursues success. And that's really what God calls us to do. But I'm coming to you from the book of Ephesians tonight. And one of the things that you've heard me talk about is in my Charles Stanley Life Principles Bible. He has multiple life principles. I want to say there's 29, 30 of them. And each of them has its own section. And then throughout the Bible, he pulls them together in these life principles. And this life principle is life principle number 25, which is God blesses us so that we can bless others. And it's from Ephesians. So let's go ahead and dig right in. You know, we have been called as God-centered entrepreneurs to miracles and to kingdom impact, not for ourselves, but truly for a world that is hurting, a world that needs people like us, not just to provide outstanding customer service through our businesses, but really to reflect Christ's light in a way that people are not used to in business. Not just from a client perspective, but even for those of us who have network marketing businesses, to really reflect Christ's light in a way that no matter where someone may be in our organization, that they know and they can feel that we love and appreciate them wherever they are in their journey, without judgment, and without over expectations of where they want to go. Yes, we want to see the great potential in people, but really, while Jesus, of course, saw the great potential in people, if you read through any of the New Testament, you know that Jesus put himself in the position to help those who would be questionable to anybody else, taxpayers and lepers and prostitutes and just people that at my church we call Jesus kind of people, because they're just people that the Lord would serve and without thinking or judging who they were or where they had been, etc. And that's really what we want to show up and do. So our businesses are truly not about us. They're truly about the impact that we're making in the kingdom, whatever your business is. You might be in financial services, you might be in health and wellness, whatever that looks like. And so it's not about us. So let me dig into the, let me dig into the lesson here. So first and foremost, it's really important for us to understand that God saved us out of his love, not because of anything that we can do. And I think that sometimes as entrepreneurs, because many of us tend to be type A, driver, striver, achievement oriented, we think, well, the more we do, the more that honors God. And it's not about what we do. It's about how we trust and how we surrender. So in Ephesians 2, 8 and 9, it is his love and not our service that causes us to be saved. And we serve in response to his love, not to earn his approval. So number one, that's important. Number two, our entire purpose in what we do is to bring him glory, period. Hold on just a second. I think I got a piece of rice stuck in my and here's why. It's not about us boasting. It's not about us telling the world about how great we are. It is about serving as an example and reflecting his nature to the world. Dr. Stanley says, when we allow his Holy Spirit to work in us and through us, we become vessels of his love and action. And that's exactly what we get to do as God-centered entrepreneurs in our business, because our businesses allow us to touch the lives of people that we might not necessarily cross paths with in everyday life. I have many, many clients that likely would not have crossed paths without my business being what it is. But because of that, we get to be a vessel of his love in doing so. We are most like him as we are serving. So again, our purpose is to bring him glory, and our purpose is to do that without hypocrisy, without judgment, and to reflect his nature, because Jesus loved all and he ministered to people that no one else would. You know, I mentioned no hypocrisy, no judgment. And if you follow me and you watch the Daily Dose live on Friday, I talked about being judgmental. And one of the things that I'm generally challenged by as a follower of Christ is I think that many people look at Christians and they think of us as hypocrites because our behavior is not matching what we say we do and feel and believe. And so I want to challenge all of us as God-centered entrepreneurs to really think about how we're showing up and reflecting Christ's love in his life and his demeanor in our service. Because it's only through that example that we can begin to change the world's opinions of who we are as followers of Christ, and especially in doing business. I think that one of the reasons I know that Hustle with Heart exists, my mission is to free people from the dilemma of how do I bridge faith and business, and to equip people to pursue success God's way. And I think that we get confused about business and we get confused about where faith fits into our business. And the bottom line is all of our purpose is to bring him glory and to serve. And that includes this vehicle of our business that he's given us. Number 3, we are most like him when we serve as he served. And Dr. Stanley goes on to say that our motivation needs to be what Jesus's motivation is, which was love. He preached, he taught, he healed, and he performed miracles in order to help others, but never to call attention to himself. So I think sometimes it's really easy in many businesses, because there's so many opportunities to be recognized for what we're doing, which is very different than the work world where you don't really get recognized that much for the everyday work that you do, to sort of get caught up in that and to sort of make it about ourselves and to want to be in the limelight. But again, it's not about us. It's about the lives that we're able to impact and really walking out and allowing the Holy Spirit to work in and through us to show the world what it looks like to follow Christ, but also be a business owner. And Dr. Stanley also says, some mistakenly think that what we do is unimportant to God, but this is far from true. He has a plan for each one of us. When we make a decision to walk by faith, he will reveal that plan to us. And that plan always includes service and dedication to him and to those that he brings into our lives. So let me give you the scriptural references so that you can look these up for yourself. So first of all, in Ephesians 4, verses 28 or 24 and 28. In 24, he calls us to put on the new man, which was created according to God in true righteousness and holiness. Paul tells us to put that new self on, which means we have to make a conscious moment-by-moment choice to depend upon the Spirit's power to transform us into the likeness of God. That's in every part of our life, but definitely as God-centered entrepreneurs, as part of our business and how we're showing up. Now, here's the dilemma, is that if you started building your business before you became a follower of Christ, and then you're continuing to build your business after, which is my story, the things that I desire, the goals, the dreams, etc., are very different than they were for me at the beginning. Every person is different. So as we give our life over to him, he transforms us into a new being. And that can be a little bit uncomfortable because we might struggle a little bit with, well, wait a minute, I wanted these goals, but now I want these goals. And does that make me sort of not as good as a business person? But remember, this is not about us. So what I found is that when I made that transition, I realized it was a lot about me before, but it's not about me now. So don't be afraid to walk through that transition and reach out to somebody that can sort of help you through that transition. And certainly I'm here to do that as the Hustle with Heart coach. And then 428 says, let's see, 428 says, let him who stole steal no longer, but rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, that he may have something to give him who is in need. So what's the point? It's the service. It's how can we serve others? How can we serve those people that want brighter futures that our business opportunity can be for? How can we serve those that need our services or our products? And how can we serve those even when they say no to us? I want to give you a great example. This week, I was in touch with a friend whom I had shared my wellness business and our products with months ago. Wasn't the right time for her. She just posted that she's doing a different wellness program. And I'm going to tell you, I was like, oh, really? But you know what? I just reached out to her and I was like, I'm so glad you found something that works for you. And I am cheering you on. And she was kind of surprised that I said that. I think because we're used to people sort of giving us the cold shoulder or blowing us off or not being so kind when we choose someone else's product or service over theirs. But again, this is how we can serve, because she'll remember that I treated her that way. And if she ever changes her mind or she knows someone else that can't use what she's using but could use what I have, she'll refer them more easily. So again, how are we serving those in need? And how are we serving even those that say no to us? And then in Ephesians 5:15 through 18, this is all about being careful how we live. And again, it's not about us. So from 15, see then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. So be careful how you live, redeeming the time because the days are evil. So making the most of every opportunity to serve in your business. Therefore, do not be unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is. So be thoughtful, check it out, scope it out, do your research, and don't get caught in what the world wants. Make sure that you're trading your time for something of value so that you may serve. In essence, all of this says this. It's not about us, you guys. I would love to hear how you have dealt with this in your business. I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, it's really easy for us to get caught up in, it's about me, it's about my schedule, it's about the next promotion, it's about the next increase or whatever. And I'm just here to tell you, every amazing, godly business owner that I know, whatever their business is, whether they're in sales or service or whatever, they have been successful because they serve others. And that is their focus. And yes, they get the promotions and the recognition and the salary or the commission increases or the bonuses or whatever. But their first and foremost priority is serving others with the vehicle that God has given them. So let's remember that. It's not about us. It's just not about us. And I highly recommend that Bob Berg book. I promise you it's a super simple read. It's always fun to sort of read a story that we learn from. And it's a little yellow book, so I hope that you guys go and check that out. And as always, please get in here. Let me know how this resonated with you. If you're not already a member of Success God's Way, you're listening to this on the podcast or the YouTube video, please get on over to our community on Facebook. It is such a fantastic and encouraging community. We are just about at 100 members. We're right at 99, so I'm really looking forward to welcoming that 100th member. But as always, if I can support you in pursuing success God's way, I'd love to have that conversation with you. And next week, I'll be announcing some more exciting things coming. So check out the blog, check out the podcast, make sure you subscribe on my website. And I'm wishing you guys a fantastic rest of your holiday weekend. So if you're listening to this later in September, this was recorded around Labor Day. And thanks for tuning in. I hope you always find this of value as we go forth and serve with this vehicle that God has given us of our businesses. Have a great week.